There's a lot of people like that. The ones that kind of lock you in and hold you into an ideology and hold you into this little system and keep you in this, locked into this, those are the ones to really watch out for. And that's, whether it's kind of cultish or whatever, I think that's an important thing just to distinguish. If they're setting me free, that's great. If they're locking me into something, that's not so great. That's kind of how I'd say it.
Yeah, I have a lot I want to say to that, but I want to get Shawn's take on it as well.
Yeah, I would agree with that entirely. If they're making their message about their ideology, and of course the charlatans are always going to use the right language. They're going to say, "I'm here to set you free," but there's this little subtlety where it's about what I'm doing, not what not your life and what you're doing. And it's that me versus you dichotomy. I think when you hear these guys talking about saving lives, and I'm not talking about anyone in particular, because there's a lot of guys out there that are saying my system is saving lives, and I think, well, how narcissistic is that? Because I get that comment occasionally, because I've written some books, and someone will sometimes write to me and say, well, your book saved my life, and I take that for what it is, which is somebody saying, hey, thanks. It's a figure of speech.
For sure.
It can't possibly be that I saved my life for I saved their life for a couple of reasons. Number one, I've never written anything nearly profound enough to save anyone's life, and neither has anyone that I know of. But primarily, let's say that they mean it literally, that they're actually saying your book saved my life, just for the sake of argument. Let's say that they're doing that. And the answer to that is no. I'm sorry, but you're wrong, because the fact that you found something useful in my book means that you were looking for something. And if you didn't find it in my book, you would have found it somewhere else. You saved your life because you took control over your problem. You took ownership of it, and you went out and you sought something. Mm-hmm. And the guys that are out there saying things like, I'm saving lives, they're telling you that it's about me. It's not about you.
Right.
That is such a good thing. You're the one that's going to save your life. You are the one that's going to do that. That's such a good, I love that shift.
And there's something to that in therapy as well. Like when you sit down in the therapist's office, the therapist isn't the one actually changing your life. I mean, the therapist, and at least in my experience, the therapist is sort of a facilitator that allowed me to change my own life, my own story. Mm-hmm. The therapist didn't do anything to me, just gave me the possibility to, as we started out the conversation, to retell the story that I was telling myself, to tell it out loud for the first time, and then consider the possibility, giving myself options to retell it a different way. But it wasn't the therapist being like, you should tell the story this way. I got to decide how I told the story for the first time.
Yeah. There are very few people who get to say something like, I saved a life, and those people don't tend to actually say it, like an emergency room doctor. I was talking to one recently. And, that person, the reason I think they can say, I saved someone's life, is because somebody comes in and that doctor is taking ownership and responsibility for that problem.
Yes.
And that doctor is bearing the consequences of that problem. There are very few professions, therapists include, although psychiatrists and psychologists are sometimes in that position where we have to take ownership of a problem, but that's very rare unless you have a job that's specifically geared around that. So anyway,
just something to be careful, like the guru mentality. It's like, no, it's about me, the guru. Me. Yeah, exactly. Versus you, the recipient of some information that's transformative in nature.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about.
Hey man, it's Anthony Johnson here, founder of 21 Studios. Thanks for watching that clip of the Redman Group, filmed live in Orlando, Florida, at the 15-year anniversary event of 21 Studios. The full episode is about an hour and a half long and super awesome, start to finish. To get early access to the full video right now, visit 21university.com, link in the description, or search 21 University on the iPhone or Android App Store to watch the full podcast with a free 30-day trial, or you can rent it standalone for only $4.99. If you just want to listen to the full audio of the podcast and not the video, you can visit our new Locals community for fans, where the full audio is posted, and it's only $5 to join. All money supports the creation of new videos and events. Locals is like the free speech competitor to Patreon. They won't ban Manosphere content creators like 21 Studios. And if you want to be a gangster, you can join both 21 University and the 21 Studios fan community on Locals. I appreciate it big time. Finally, I want to make a personal comment on the clip you guys just watched. So first of all, big shout out to both Ken Curry, the marriage and family therapist, licensed professional, based in Colorado. You saw him speak at the beginning of the video on the left-hand side. And of course, Dr. Shawn T. Smith, clinical psychologist based out of Colorado as well. You saw us speak throughout most of the video. On a basic level, I think the Manosphere has had a fraud problem, charlatan problem, as Shawn alluded to there. It's had one for several years, if not several decades in some ways. But specific to this issue about saving lives, it's been a big problem for a couple years now. And I really appreciate both of them having the balls and the courage and the tenacity to step up and stand up and speak the truth on these issues. As they see it, calling it like it is, calling a spade, and putting their face and reputation and name on the line to get behind those words on a public forum like the Red Man Group at our events. So I really appreciate it, but it's been a real problem. There's real predation in the Manosphere by guys pretending to help men, and in reality they're preying on wounded men, and they're doing it knowingly, and it's been going on for a long time. Both of these guys, particularly Shawn, I think, are big fish in a little pond in the Manosphere because they have real training and education, expertise, and professional licenses to maintain to speak up about these issues, and it's big. I really appreciate it from both of them, bottom of my heart. So with that said, if you guys want the full video, like I said earlier, you can go to 21university.com. It's available there, free 30-day trial. Watch the whole thing. It's super good. And of course, you can go to New Locals, and we got the audio posted there for all the fans early. It will be on YouTube soon, a few weeks. You get the full episode for free, but if you want to get it early, you can do those options. Once again, big shout out to Ken Curry and Dr. Shawn Smith for speaking up on these issues. I think it's an important turning point in our community for them to stand up and speak up like that. Peace out. See you guys.